but mentally, I like to say that
No,
we're
I mean
here.
we should arrive before we leave. I feel like
Well,
that's the correct sequence of events.
we are who we are, therefore we should just be and on our way. No, I mean with that, really, I mean it's been an exhausting week. It's been like we've
I'm
been
so
setting
tired.
no, we've been setting up this week for weeks now. It's just weird. I'm not going to say the word
Yeah.
weeks for weeks for weeks. Last 2 weeks, every time we get on the show, I mean, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the best of our week. We have used the word embargo too much and too many times. So yeah, is Sony gonna
Ooh,
like
yours is all
Sony?
fancy. Yeah, look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I took my Pro Eye setup because they didn't send it. They didn't send us the Pro Eye setup again. They just sent us the phones. Um, so I was able to, schmancy fancy
Mm-hmm.
with the rear display and all of that. I even did a demo live stream from the Xperia One Mark IV.
I was so because of the embargo, I was so nervous to like try. Like what I was gonna do is record one, private, and then
Well,
use
so
that,
I,
and
I was
then
I wanted to do that as well. I wanted to be like, let's do that. So what I ended up doing for me is I set up my account, but I never went live. So in the video, as I did for my
yeah,
videos that I put, I just showed you how to get to it, but I never
that
hit the
that was that
button.
was that was a better way to do it. I just talked about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I should have taken the step to do
Well,
it.
so here's a little thing that probably we didn't see in any of the materials we got. The mirroring the app that we get in here also features some live streaming built into it. There's a live
Yeah.
streaming setup in the mirroring app. And then we have it in the gaming section, and we also have it in the Video Pro. So for me,
Mhm.
this is literally like, and when you set it up in one app, it opens up and it works on all
Anything
the other
that
one.
images, it's like one button push to
Yeah,
broadcast, and I was
it.
terrified.
Same here. Um, I like the flexibility we got though in the gaming section because we get to customize our thumbnail, we
Yeah.
get to customize the wording and all of that. But in Video Pro, you don't really get much. You just basically
Oh, it
set
just goes.
yeah, and it uses whatever your channel's default image is, which to me is the big TK Bay thing. So when you see that coming through your feed and all you see is that big sign, you're like you have no idea what the video is about. So not a lot of people clicked on it, but it was me basically after sleeping for 3 hours the night before because I was up till like 2:30. I woke up and I'm like, I'm getting ready to go to Google I/O with Team Pixel. What should I do? Hey, why don't you join me? Let's chit chat. Surprisingly, dude, it actually came out really nice. Like
Yeah.
very clean, crisp, 1080p 60, very good. And I wasn't even on the ultra low latency. I was on just regular low latency option. So it
Hmm.
was definitely very nice. But yeah,
Yeah, I really
so
wish I could have joined you guys for that. We're gonna have so much to talk about with IO because it
dude,
was a lot.
the dumps. I mean, it was seriously like
You
we
said
want
the
hardware.
dumpster.
Well, no, it was basically like they dumped so much information. It was just like the massive. No, really,
No,
IO.
I
Everybody knows
agree.
IO
I
never
don't
talks
know
hardware.
that.
IO never, never, ever, ever. Last
Yeah,
time they did that, it was what
and it was
2019.
huge hardware
It
teases.
was like phone upon phone upon phone upon watch upon buds
Hmm.
upon tablet. The thing that said they would not be. I mean, never ever since the Nexus 7, it's been dead silence. Like Nexus 7, Nexus 10, those were the last tablets Google made, and they were like, we're never coming back. And this is why Samsung, for the lack of a better term,
Sure.
has dominated the tablet market when it comes to premium because Google hasn't
There's
been in the
been no
game.
competition.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm critically anxious to see a Google tablet with Tensor hardware.
Hey, even the
Could be
6A
real
gets
good.
Tensor, man. Like
Well,
that was crazy to me.
I feel like I kind of called some of their distribution.
Oh,
I
no.
was wrong because if anyone remembers when the Pixel 5a came out,
Mhm.
I actually advocated for them to kill the A series and just use the next Pixel number as the cheaper phone when it got to be a year older.
Yeah.
So I totally flubbed the landing on that one. I was really expecting Pixel 6 would stick around for this year at a reduced price, and Pixel 7 and 7 Pro would go on to be the higher priced phones. But they are going to be making a specific Pixel 6a. And I'll be curious to see how it lands because the Pixel 6 is already such a strong performer at its price point that
So
the
for
6a
599, yeah, the 6A has to be well. So if the 6A it's gonna
449
be 449.
is good, yeah.
It's
But you're going to face a lot of individual compromises to land that $100 difference. Well, yeah.
it's
So
more. It's $150
it's like
less.
150. Yeah.
Yeah. So 150, how do you $50? $150 less. still get it's closer to the Pixel 4a 5G, to the Pixel 5.
Hmm.
Basically they're going with the larger version of the phone. They're not going with the smaller
Yeah.
ones anymore. So unfortunately, gone are the days of tiny phones from Google. But I'm excited for the fact that it has a lot of competition. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
When you look at that price point, you're looking around, the N20. You're looking around, heck, man, even the TCL series that came out. I mean, they're not on every carrier yet, but you can kind of start looking at some of those devices on the market. And I feel
Yeah.
like even in the US, we have some competition. It's not,
A little, yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
I mean, obviously in
There's
Europe, you
some
have
strong
way more.
Motorola in that $400 tier. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, no, no, absolutely.
again, knowing that average consumers shop overwhelmingly around Galaxy A
Hmm.
series phones, I think there's a really interesting fight brewing where Google is actually going to step out with one of the highest performance, high horsepower options,
Hmm.
and a number of these players are arriving with more mid-tier and more mid-tier SoCs but
Hmm.
larger camera sensors.
Yeah, yeah.
So now it's a good fight is a tensor paired with a last generation camera sensor. How is that going to perform against a less powerful phone
With
with
a
a
larger camera
larger
sensor.
slab of camera sensor? And this I think is a good fight, but I also think it's interesting that kind of a little like Apple, even their cheap phone is not going to be playing with a derivative SoC that is built to be less powerful. And so Tensor has, especially over these last couple updates, the most recent update, I literally just got another security patch on my Pixel 6 Pro installed today. And
Hmm.
this thing has been a screamer. So
Yeah, yeah.
anyone who was like, oh, but the Geekbench multi-core score is lower than a Snapdragon, to get that kind of performance at 449, I think is going to be really good for people who appreciate that extra horsepower. But
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see, like, can Google's computational photography really stick the landing against some of these other cheap phones with significant camera hardware advantages?
So the one thing I will say, their track record kind of meets, or has proven to us at least, that the Pixel 4, the Pixel 4a and the Pixel 5, not the 5, the 4a and the 3a did very well. They were not the
Oh yeah.
snappiest devices. They were by no means the fastest,
I mean,
takers of
like the
images.
Pixel 4a, when you're really just trying to get through your day, that little 4a was a screamer. That
Oh,
really
don't, yeah, yeah,
was
no, no.
a much better performant phone than I think anyone ever
The
gave it
4A
credit for.
definitely much better than the 3A. But what I'm trying to say though is, um, where we compare it to devices by performance, by benchmarks, you know what I mean, like things like that. People start looking at numbers.
you,
At the
you spat that word.
um,
Benchmarks.
b- benchmarks. Is it the bench? No.
Yeah, bench it.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, we probably shouldn't start. Yeah.
Yeah, let's not start with that. Aditya will take that and just break into another episode. No, I mean, so the reality is the 4A did very, very well. It still performs very well, even a couple of years later. But what I'm looking at realistically, I like the approach of what they did. I like the fact that they brought in Tensor, right? Their
Hmm.
flagship SoC. They're basically bread and butter now into the 6A, which means their dependence on Qualcomm chipset is basically stopped. There is no more
Yeah.
venue for Qualcomm coming in. Tensor will be the drive force behind what they're doing, and they're solidly building that ecosystem, be it an A or a 6 from
Yeah.
last year. I feel like that works. But what I'm trying to say though is the way they were able to perform in the past with the 6, the 4A, the 3A, the 3A XL, and they were still able to hold their own. I feel like this is where the 6A will shine. Now, will it basically take people over from other devices? It's going to end up becoming on what carriers do. Will carriers
Yeah.
carry the 6A, and which carriers do carry them? Will they have the N20 in the same segment? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because this is where that conversation happens. The 695 is not as powerful, obviously, as a Tensor, but it has a
I mean,
64 megapixel shooter as opposed to last year's camera sensor.
for
So
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I because I'm totally with you. I feel like the growth that we've seen from OnePlus is because we
Hmm.
saw LG walk out the market.
Yeah, yeah.
Motorola sucked up most of that market.
Exactly.
Like they
Vacuum,
made the
vacuum
biggest
sucked the whole thing
strides.
out. Yep. Yep.
And I'm even disappointed because like this was a huge opportunity for Samsung to really ratchet up on the A52. Because the A52 is such a good phone, and
So
they
much
let
better than the
so much
A53
of
that
that
we have.
ground go
Yeah.
without really giving it the push. Like LG was out. LG sent emails to their customers saying like, "Hey, we're out of the game now, but don't fret. There are these other great phones like the Pixel 4a 5G that you can shop instead." So there was like this continuity. And so I feel like this is a huge opportunity to put Google, which
Yeah.
is a name everybody
Everybody.
knows,
Well,
when you
LG was
go into
promoting them more than themselves. Let's be honest with each other.
oh
But yeah,
yeah, I mean
continue.
especially for the A series,
No, no, no. I'm
definitely
talking in their
yeah.
commercials. I remember all the LG
Right,
commercials.
yeah.
The only thing I remembered out of the LG
Look, I can
commercials
use
was,
Google Assistant on my
"Hey, Goo,
LG phone.
hey,
Take
Goo,
a
hey,
selfie.
Boo Boo, take a selfie." I'm like, huh?
Oh God,
You remember?
we
You
never
remember
got
that?
a quad DAC commercial, and it kills me.
No.
But
Yeah.
when we see a purpose-built, new, flashier looking Pixel A series right next to a OnePlus in a low-cost carrier store,
Hmm.
right next to one of the nicer TCLs. I mean, these things look like
Yeah,
they're
the
built to
30E, I
compete.
think there's a one purposely made for T-Mobile right now, which will carry the N20 and could potentially be carrying
Yeah.
the 6A. So yeah.
So this is a critically exciting competitive place
Oh yeah.
where we know there's a lot of interest from consumers. So again, I mean, for those who get into the nuts and bolts and care about different aspects of performance, I
Yep. Yep.
feel like, excuse me, I'm
Yeah, I
drinking
know.
this tea and it's giving me burps.
You're
I
doing
feel
that. I'm
like
drinking this
there's
soda that's giving me absolute burps.
we're just going to be constantly muting each other's mics.
This the
The
burps are the burps.
the
Yep.
price premium to get that brilliant Samsung GN1 camera sensor, for me, that's totally worth the $150 right there. I'm in. I'm sold. I've
I
been using it on the Pixel 6 Pro. I've been using it on the Vivo X70. This is an incredible camera sensor, and it's really just crushing everything in terms of practical performance without being obnoxiously bolted onto the back of your phone. So I'll be curious to see, do consumers, like you were saying, you go into a carrier store and you see 64 megapixels and this only has 12 megapixels. I need the one with more MPs. Do consumers even think that way? Or are they going to see Google? I know Google. And then
mhm.
there's OnePlus, and I don't know them as well. So I guess I'll go with the Google. Like that to me, I think is probably going to be just as critical to the consumer decision making process as the numbers on the little card under each phone.
So as you're talking, I decided to see what would happen if I brought in the Xperia 1 Mark IV into the chat. Why not? I have the phone for like what,
Why not?
another 2 days or something?
Yeah, we got to send it back. So ooh,
Yeah.
put it in.
Hold
Just
on.
mute him.
Oh yeah, I gotta mute that one. I have to. Okay, so this is the back-facing sensor, not the most promising or the most appealing of all. Hold on, how do we get this right? Here we are. So we got TK-ception wise here. Yo, no.
I, I,
Um,
I I'm gonna say, to say something crude for anyone who's only listening to the audio version of our podcast, I am now the meat in 2 slices of TK bread. This is a TK sandwich, and
okay,
I love it.
so this is better. Now we're using the ultra wide lens. I mean, this is the purpose of a device like this, right? Isn't it? There's just the ability of just jumping in. Okay, let me see here. Am I better focused now? Here. Of course, if I could see myself. Oh, here we are. This is much better. Okay, I just
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
block you with this one.
true to Sony. I mean, it's catching your studio lighting, and it's very aggressive in
Absolutely,
exposing
yeah.
for it. But
I'm gonna I'm gonna stop it because it's not set up because I'm not using it with the live streaming setup that it's supposed to be. This is really me just using Chrome, which surprisingly works well. Actually, over the years we've
mhm.
always had problems with StreamYard and getting it to work copacetically. Recognizing the sensors. Let's say that recognizing the
Yeah.
right number of sensors and activating the right sensors on an Xperia has been a challenge. So I'm really happy to see this. But sir, pause now.
But
I see.
sir, this is a family show.
Yes.
I love like the idea of Jeff as like some sort of pearl clutching.
This is a
I'd love to
family
hear
show.
his take on like a Mr. McGillicuddy kind of. Yeah. Anyway, so
No,
we jumped in and we immediately started bouncing around. Why don't we
yes.
save Google I/O? Let's finish
Uh,
Sony because this is one of the most monster performing phones of the year, the Xperia
um,
1 Mark IV. This thing
hands
is a
down.
beast.
Oh my God, is it a beast? It is.
And it's a beast that's delivered, that's getting announced. It's not getting delivered for months. It's getting announced
September
right.
1st, according to Amazon. Apparently, I have a date now. In the U.S., it's available on September 1st. So, hey man, they're staying true to their form. We know we weren't going to get this phone for at least a few months. I
Right.
mean, hey, not to kind of bring Google back into it, but Google took a page from this, and they, 6A not till July, late July. And then the 7 and 7 Pro obviously won't be coming out till like September, October. But realistically, a lot of future casting is what we're getting.
But I mean, how crazy is it that even for their announcement, there was a lot going on this week?
Hmm.
And here I'm sitting with the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV, a phone that is beautifully easy to say. The name
Hmm.
of the phone couldn't be simpler. You'd have to be knuckle draggingly stupid to have issues with how Sony names their phones. And yet, like, it is swarmed with other product announcements, accessory announcements.
Same day, there was like a whole Google
Same
I/O later
day.
that day. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. So this was at 12:05 a.m. Pacific, and then by 9 a.m. we have Google I/O. I'm like, and then literally the
Ha.
day after that, or so, barely like 24 hours after that, I have the Magic 4 Pro going on, and it was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm exhausted.
I
I'm seriously exhausted. This week has
I
been. It's Thursday, but
I
I'm like done.
really want to. I need to be careful with my tone,
Yeah.
and I think the folks that are in our audience, they've been with us long enough to understand what I'm about to say, because I'm about to play the "woe is me, my life is so hard" card,
I can be your
which
translator. I can
but
translate.
um the thing that's bumming me out is there have been so many amazing releases and announcements this year
Yeah.
that I haven't been able to just jam on one of them for any length of time. So
Yeah.
like I'm writing up a script for the Red Magic 7 Pro, a
Oh yeah.
comparison against the Poco F4 GT. I
Good
am
one.
so stupid excited about those two phones. I haven't been able to share that with anyone. I'm writing up an article, just kind of catching up on the Duo 2. I can't tell you, the Duo 2 has been flipping incredible over these last couple updates. It is just phenomenal hardware. It's an amazing tablet. I haven't been able to tell anyone. And I'm sitting here with an Xperia 1 Mark IV, just like, guys, this phone is awesome. Okay, cool. Time's up. Time to talk about
Uh,
something else now.
well,
Just like I need, just like my fingertips are like raking this wall as I go sliding down it. And I just need a toe hold for a minute just so I can enjoy
I just want a time
some
warp
of this
enough time to be
stuff.
able to. No, I mean seriously, it was
It's
it,
too
it
much good.
it's just keeps getting better and better. Like I'll be honest with you, the what I when we first heard about the Xperia 1 Mark IV and what it was promising and what it could do, for me, I felt like at the time, I was like, oh, well, you know what? This is iterative. It's not going to be super,
Yeah.
it's not exact. It's just going to be minor over what we got
I
last
would
year.
no, no, no. I'll go even further. I was flat out disappointed when we finished the pre-brief before they
Mhm.
sent out the prototype. I was ready to say, okay, Sony is one of my top brands. I mean, with no LG in the market, this is like our last option.
Yes,
This
the only
phone,
option.
this
Like,
phone's
yeah.
yeah. This phone isn't really going to do it for me, and I think I might have to make my first negative
Oh, man.
negative reaction or bad Sony review.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
once I
understand.
get that in my head, it takes a lot to kind of win me back. And this was it's a brilliant example of how specs on paper don't
Don't
tell
match.
you anything
Yes,
about
yes,
what it's like to
absolutely.
use that thing in your hand.
and not just using it. It's those, because we've lived the Xperia lifestyle for many years right now, right? We've gone through the first, the second, the third, and we've seen how they've been improving things. But with all the rumors kind of going all over the place, bigger sensors, bigger things, Sony's doing, giving their best sensors to
Yeah.
other companies, and then we went through the pre-brief, and as Juan was mentioning, we didn't have the phone during our pre-brief. We actually got it after. So going through that entire presentation, we were just going based on specs on paper. It did kind of like feel like, okay, so it sounds like it's a little bit of an improvement, but then you get the phone, and one of the really nice things on here is they changed up a few things, just enough to make that all three sensors on the back of this phones are super sensors. They do exactly what you want them to do. The one thing that, it's like a gimmick thing though, but just as a rule of thumb, most devices that you see on the market that are being announced or so on, the main sensor on the back of that phone is the main sensor will be the only sensor that has all of the tricks and bells and whistles that they say.
Yeah.
If they say OIS, AF, low light, and sub-zero technologies, water cooling, whatever, typically they're talking about the main sensor. The secondary, the ultra wide, and the telephoto are there, but they're just not special enough. And that's what I really fell for here with this one. The main sensor in the second, and the ultra wide, and the telephoto, you could use anyone. Doesn't matter which one. 85, 125, 20, 24, 16.
So it's exciting to see how well matched they are.
Yeah.
I am still, because it's coloring me spoiled from having used the Pro I.
Yeah.
That I do wish we had some larger sensors.
I don't disagree
knowing
there.
that, but knowing that they've done so much work to color science matching across all three, capabilities matching across all three, autofocus matching across all
the
three.
readout on them, oh my god, 20 frames per second.
The high speed readout, which is again, I cannot express how many times, how frustrated I get when we see people going, oh, but this new OnePlus, it doesn't do anything special. This new Sony, it's just the same as it was before. And you're like, I know for a fact, you don't even push any of these devices to their limits. Because once you've started playing with something like 4K 120, you start like doing 1/4 slow motion in full resolution at an insanely high bit rate, and you see like, oh, this is something fundamentally different that I can now start employing immediately out of my pocket, edit it directly on the phone, and produce like family videos ready to go.
Yep.
That would be something new. And if you're not even discussing stuff like that, then I know for a fact you're picking up this phone going, oh, it's the same as it's always been. It's not the phone's fault. The phone is genuinely doing something radical.
Yeah.
You decided not to use any of those new radical things
because
you just wanted to complain about something.
I was going to say, you wanted something to complain about, and it's not the Sonys and the Samsungs, not the Sonys, it's not the Samsungs and the Apple of the universe. So,
but the number of megapixels, it should have had more megapixels, and you're like, I appreciate that, but those are the same people who I never see stressing the phones with the absolute largest camera sensors, where again, like, these enormous sensors that are great for all of this like composition, low light photography, depth of field, and I'm seeing the exact same garbage test photos from them as I've been seeing for the last 3 generations of camera sensor.
Tracking autofocus in movement for me has been.
Did you show off? Because I was listening to your video, I wasn't watching it as closely as I should have. But did you do the burst with Clark?
Yeah. Yeah, so I showed 20 shots consecutive, and then I stopped the last one. But every single one, crystal clear image.
Yeah.
I could have Russian roulette the thing, and I was still landing on the picture that.
Now,
looks
of
amazing.
course, no one cares about that though, TK. I mean, if you have kids or pets who run around like crazy, that's not an average consumer benefit. Is having the most incredible Cyberdyne systems, AI, spooky, eye tracking autofocus that's ever been implemented on a phone. Who could use that? What we need is juicier HDR, I guess, which slows down the photo and blurs everything.
Or maybe they just want motion blur. Maybe they're just shooting for motion blur. That's what they want. I want 20 motion blur images, and then pick one because that's literally all you have. No, I mean seriously. The autofocusing prowess of an 8 alpha camera as we have right now in shooting in the palm of your hand on all three, I'm sorry, on all four focal lengths on this. Because I'm not going to say sensors because they're technically four focal lengths here. If you truly appreciate, I mean, and if you just happen to not live outside and you don't ever want to take a picture of a motion, anything in motion, you don't understand the benefit of it. Now, the example with Clark was obviously very controlled. It was very specific. I wanted to make sure she was walking over, but I actually shot 60 shots and all 60 were there. I just didn't want to put 60 half a second
Yeah.
images and showing her moving like, okay, she's doing the robot in the video.
But I also need to express, for our concerns about, because this is where we need to be very specific about pros and cons.
Yeah.
Because Sony is using a smaller main camera sensor, and obviously the telephoto and the ultra wide are also smaller than the main sensor. So we're working at a deficit for extreme low light photography. But the time that TK did that burst with Clark walking and him and the phone tracking through this burst of photos was about 20 minutes after sunset. So we weren't even in immediate dusk light. We were well into that like kind of hazy pinkish gray.
It was
light.
as we were walking out. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I need to do this burst. Yep.
And to me, that's actually one of my favorite times to shoot. I think it's actually one of the most flattering for skin.
Isn't it?
But that is also it's one of the most. It's post magic hour.
Okay.
Magic hour. We're still talking about like golden
as
hour.
It hits golden hour. Yeah.
But that dying and decaying light. But once you get to around 15 minutes, 20 minutes after sunset, you've got about a 10-minute window where you get this gorgeous, soft, pink fog. And that's actually one of the most challenging lighting conditions to shoot a nice, detailed, crisp photo from a phone with a smaller camera sensor.
Yep.
So what Sony is doing is kind of incredible, where it is in between every single shot, it is recalibrating and it is sticking to the subject, tracking the eyeball of that subject in a challenging lighting condition for a phone with that kind of sensor, and it nails it. And it's not like you have to sit there and like double tap or lock on your subject or do anything. No.
It saw her face, saw the eyes, locked in, and it's just
you hold the button down.
Yeah.
That's it.
I seriously but what I want to say is this isn't new. We've had this level of tracking in high speed readout from the main sensor for years. I think the main beauty here is the fact that we now have it on the other sensors, on the ability of being a little bit more flexible with your lenses, because now the device is. I mean, and I don't know if it's specifically to the 8 Gen 1, but for me, the uniform of the color calibration between the lenses in the back, and the fact that they took a 12 megapixel camera now and they put it on the front and they gave us 4K 30 frames per second, so we have a better sensor on the front to marry to the better sensors on the back. For me, that story now is where, it's rare to hear a company listen to their consumers. It's rare for them to take the feedback and actually apply it to the hardware and not just compromise the experience. Like the A52 and the A53, it's a compromise. It's an upgraded compromise experience. The SoC is not the exact same. They should have stuck to last year's SoC. They should have kept the headphone jack. That device would have screamed and just call it the the A52.5 and add 5G back to the market that didn't have it.
A52 FE.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I like that one, because the fans, I like it. For
the fans.
Yeah, I like it.
But I mean, we're obviously fixating on one aspect of the camera performance, but it's frustrating because so many of the leaks and rumors that were coming, TK and I were emailing and texting each other back and forth like, hey, look, there's another article getting published with absolutely incorrect specs on this leak for what the new Xperia is going to. It's going to have a 48 megapixel triple camera system, and you're like, no, it's not. It's going to have 4 cameras for additional medium telephoto and zoom. Like, no, it's totally not. And I hate it. It's like yet another reason why I get frustrated with the leak machine that we have. Because now it's like this phone is getting judged by the specs of a product that would never have existed. Yeah. And people are disappointed that the imaginary specs aren't on this thing when it's just genuinely a workhorse. It is a pro photography system that is very good at gaming and it's pretty solid for the multimedia and content consumption stuff too. I mean, there's really no corner cutting here. This is
No, no,
Sony
and
putting their best foot forward.
they brought in some of the really, so for me, this was also a super icing on the really massive cake that it is
Yeah.
already. The
Well,
Xperia.
explain what you're holding up and explain what that is. For,
So
people that
to
haven't
speak
seen your video.
to kind of explain what this is. So if you guys are familiar with the Xperia Pro I, which Juan was talking about not that long ago, was released. It was the end of 2021, and Sony released a device it was their first smartphone to support a full 1-inch sensor, although slightly cropped based on the form factor. But one of the main features that I loved about it, it was designed for vloggers. It was designed for people that love using the main sensor on your phone, the ability of basically just shooting on the back and staying with those sensors. But we all know that one of our biggest problems is that we can't see what's going on there. Once you flip over, unless you're Juan Carlos Bagnell, aka some gadget guy, you have not perfected the mechanism of just flipping it over and taking a picture. Because Juan knows how to do it. He's like, I just do it. I don't even open my eyes. I take, closed eyes pictures. So what I loved about this is the fact that so the Xperia 1 Mark III did not support this. I tried this on multiple units.
Yeah.
There was no way. And I thought Android 12 was going to do it. And Android 12 didn't do it. They brought that feature down from the Xperia Pro I over to the Xperia 1 Mark IV. On top of all of the camera setup, they truly I truly appreciate what they offer, but they are really focusing on giving people so many more options, so many more optional things, and first-party accessories that truly highlight the experience. Yeah. Live streaming, that little demo that I did the live streaming on a couple of days ago, when the 1 Mark IV was announced, I actually did it facing me with the main sensor, the 24mm one, facing me, and I was using the display, and I was just getting ready. I just set it on the table, and that's how it was. I was talking to everybody. It took me a second to figure out because it was literally the first live stream.
Right.
But I was up and running in less than 10, maybe 20 seconds of clicking a couple of buttons in the Video Pro. I was ready. People saw me. The picture was crisp. I didn't use external microphones. I was using the onboard microphones, and it sounded really good. So for me, this is the level of detail I want. This is where this becomes a pro tool, not just your average $1,000 plus.
Your $1,000 Pro
insert model, model Samsung or iPhone in there.
I was having a really lovely back and forth with a couple guys on Twitter, and that was one of the main points that I think it's so difficult in our current slate of tech reviews to get that point across. But I still feel like so many manufacturers make consumer-facing products that are going to be fun and entertaining. And Sony's expensive product division, I think, still has...
sorry, go ahead. No, sorry.
I left it up there, and I probably should have pulled it back down. But Sony's expensive product division, excuse me, I think they're looking at the Xperia, and they still have some eye. I mean, it's not their main focus. Obviously, they want to sell as many phones as they can make. But I still feel like some of this design consideration is going into a specific kind of work. No one is accidentally going to spend $1,600 on an Xperia and then go, but I'm not going to use all these features. They're gimmicks. I should have bought a $800 phone instead. The people who are critical enough to know what Sony is and know what they're doing, I feel like Sony has accomplished probably some of the best journalism tools on the market today. I probably would still lean towards the Pro I for people who had some designs on trying to craft content, more of a narrative or a storytelling kind of video shoot. But then the flip side of that would be with these new audio tools that are going to be coming to the retail version and being able to edit audio on the go. Now you have Music one of the best pocketable podcasting, music, recording solutions available. And I've been doing this for a while already. I mean, like for my podcast and our podcast, my final mixdown happens from a phone. Like TK will send me the audio from the stream, and I've got a little template set up on my phone. I never sit in front of a computer just to wrap up a podcast anymore. That takes too long, So with Sony kind of going after that, the $1,600 for this phone should be balanced against a consumer or a mindset where they'll legitimately be using that to get work done that gets them paid. And I feel like that is a conversation that is absolutely missing when we're talking about other just sort of softer around the edges, friendly consumer electronics. You know, I genuinely don't pick up an S22 and have that same thought. I do have that thought with a Note 22, that I am investing this much money into a premium tier phone because it is going to enable me to get work done that will get me paid.
Yeah.
And Sony is targeting a very specific flavor of that conversation. And I feel like that deserves more attention, that deserves more consideration. If you're picking up a phone, you stream, you do some social media, and you play games on it, spend $600. Don't go shopping in this tier. But if you think that this is going to be a tool that can contribute to your workflow, then that $1,600 is not extraordinary. It's not, extravagant.
Look at how many other tools, how many other things that you're replacing with this. This has always been Sony's biggest thing about it, is how many other pieces of tech that you're replacing with this. The ability of leveraging studio grade audio on the go, which has been up till the point I got the X70 Pro Plus from you, has been a challenge for me. Has been where I take whatever phone I have, whatever the best microphone setup that I have. I always end up going to the closet or finding a spot where I have like a comforter or something like that, and I have to cover myself to dampen all external noises. The X70, I didn't have to do that. The X70 for me, just like, it was so good. It is good, not was good. It's not like it stopped being good the moment I gave it back.
No, it's still, it's still using it for all of my outdoor shots were from the X70 Pro on my Anker video.
So I was about to say earlier when you mentioned your Duo, because I saw a cameo from the Duo on the Anker video, which if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, he just dropped the video today.
My Duo was my script, because I could kind of keep it angled and I could keep two panels going. So my Duo 1 was carrying my script. I made it all the way out to my shoot location and my Duo was not charged. So you can see it plugged in the entire time I'm doing outdoors. Like there's this one little OnePlus cable that's kind of routed to the back
I see,
of the battery. And it was just, it was charging up my Duo. But all of the outdoor photography, every single outdoor shot, and quite a few of the indoor shots, except for the really, really shallow depth of field. I've got this one really fun shot where it's like coffee's brewing because the battery is powering my coffee maker, and that came from
it was right next to the water container at the top there. Yeah, it was over there.
So the X70 Pro Plus tackled everything else. All of my talking to camera, X70 Pro Plus. All of my close-ups and B-roll, X70 Pro Plus.
The earthquake shot
is just. The earthquake shot was from my Panasonic, so anything that's in my office is from my G9.
Okay.
Everything else is.
I don't want to give away too much of the details. If you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, even on the audio podcast, please make sure to check out Juan's channel. He just dropped this. It's a massive emergency preparedness type of a video.
It's like almost 50 pounds of portable backup battery goodness.
It comes with a free gym membership by just carrying the thing. A 50-pound dumbbell. It's like, yes, I want gains, I want power. We got The Rock singing the song. No, it's a good video. I've been a big fan of Anker, and I've done reviews in the past of a big capacity batteries. I have one actually that's strong enough that will power my refrigerator for 8 hours.
So,
but this one seems like
won't go for 8 hours, but
I saw you watching a TV with it. That you got me sold on that right there.
Yeah, it'll do like almost 9 hours of TV, if you've got like a 45-inch TV. But this Anker does have enough of a surge where you just have to kind of check what your fridge needs, because when the fridge compressor kicks on, it like spikes for a split second, very, very high power draw, and then it settles. And this Anker can even hang with a number of refrigerators if you know what your surge requirements are. But anyway, so I'm super stoked. Anker reached out to me about doing a collaboration, and I said, hey, I've got this idea to start doing sort of an emergency prep tech series of videos, and they were like, well, we're coming out with this giant ass battery. You're like, yes.
Was that the official term? The 757 PowerHouse giant ass battery?
There may have been 2 emails back and forth where the phrase giant ass battery
I like that.
Was mentioned, and then one of the requirements for doing the collaboration was, we need you to explicitly say and demonstrate that this is a significantly heavier product than many of the others on the market today. And so, like, I have a joke in there, oh, this is a hefty boy. But they were like, no, 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 no. We need people to know this is not a casual product. That this is something you buy with purpose. This isn't like a battery power bank for your phone. And true to form, like we've had to use it since I finished the video. Like I had to finish it and I sent it off for approval. And like literally 2 days after that all happened and I got the video locked. Like I really am not going to change anything on this video anymore. We've been having rolling blackouts.
Oh, I
here
remember
in my neighborhood.
there was a day where the SGG QA got canceled because of that.
Well, that was after, but the day of last week's podcast.
Oh, okay.
As soon as I finished the show, we lost power for like 4 hours, like everything just out in our neighborhood. Okay. But we had this giant ass battery. We were keeping everything going. My wife had it plugged in. Her laptop was plugged in, so she
do you get paid per the giant ass battery statement made? Is that how the sponsor? No.
I mean, it's like I should be doing like shorts every single time the power gets knocked out in my neighborhood. Giant ass battery.
Let's go to the giant ass battery. No, I mean, no, seriously though, for Southern California, I mean, we are in a very interesting part of the country. We don't get tornadoes. We don't get ice blizzards. We get earthquakes, and we also get power
earthquakes
outages
and fires.
And fires. And now we have fires across all year long. We no longer have the fire season anymore. It's literally like any time. And there's right now something going on in Southern California as well, where they're trying to take care of some fires there. But being prepared and being able to maintain even just necessity of being able to charge your phone, making sure you're able to keep some people rely on CPAP machines, some people need things to survive, oxygen machines and so on. These things can be very helpful for that duration. For me, I mean, obviously, not the Anker one, but like a year and a half ago, my mom had lost power for 3 days, and all the food in her refrigerator was just going to go dead, obviously, and they don't pay for those things. So we were power cycling it, where we would basically leave the refrigerator closed the whole day, and then at night we would put in the charger and run it for about 8 hours to cool everything, and then take it back to my house, charge it, and bring it back. So things like that are a necessity for us. So I'm really happy to see Anker kind of jumping or stepping up there, because they're known for their battery pack, but they're also known mostly for their smaller portable ones. More like a smartphone active lifestyle. This is really not active. This is purposely set.
They have a line of these. They call them power stations. And
well, this is
And so they have a few that are a bit smaller, a bit more manageable. They can't really juice up like kitchen appliances. The 757 that they've just released is kind of their big boy take on like.
I wonder why if the 757 is their way of saying a 787 kind of thing. It's a big boy.
It's a big boy.
It's a big boy,
and it's so big it's got wings. Like the frame of it is built into handles that curve out from the side.
In the video, the sides have like this nice blue color, almost like it's permeating blue sides.
Invented,
like it's from Krypton or something. That is just, anyways. The design's very nice. Make sure to check out the video. I'm really, I'm happy to see that we have more options. And again, things like that are always nice to be able to cover, because it's always needed.
Short story, incredibly long.
Absolutely.
And thank you for kind of going down that, because I was really proud of how that video came out, and I really am looking for suggestions on the next topics to cover. I want to cover solar. I want you to cover
the how does it feel in the hand, my friend. That's what you didn't cover in the video.
I definitely neglected my tech reviewer duties there. But the thing that got us into this is we've been relying on multiple camera systems to get our work done when we're trying to put together reviews, when we're trying to put together videos. And there are reasons why we might pick up a specific phone with a specific camera to get a different kind of shot. And so when there's a situation like, hey, I really know I want to shoot slow motion, I don't shoot 1080p slow motion anymore. I've never liked that kind of foggy, low bit rate, blurry quality to a lot of slow mo. But then you pick up a OnePlus or a Sony, and you get this razor sharp 4K image at 120 frames per second. If I need a shallower depth of field or I need slightly better dynamic range, I'm probably not going to want to reach for the Xperia 1 Mark IV, but a Pro I or a Vivo is totally up my alley. And so it really, I mean, I really wish we could drill down into these like slightly more nuanced use case scenarios, because if someone's going to spend over $1,000 or even up to $1,000, up to and over $1,000, I feel like their preferences matter so much more in helping them decide what phone to get, rather than just, well, this phone is promising way more software updates and I'll get a better trade-in, so I guess that's the phone for me, seems to be the majority of these sort of surface level tech conversations that we're having.
Yeah. No, and it really shouldn't be. We really need it needs to be done to what the user needs and what they're looking for. And like I think you said it
Yeah.
earlier the right way. Nobody ever stumbles on an Xperia. You don't jump into an
No,
Xperia because
that's never by accident.
I went in to get a Samsung and the guy gave me an Xperia. I don't know
Oops.
what he was doing, and I
I
don't
was
know.
going through my Best Buy and I tripped and $1,600 fell out of my pocket.
Absolutely.
Dang.
That because that's how we do it. No,
It's so
it is.
dumb.
It's a purposely thought for
Right.
purchase, and you do know why you're getting for it. And I felt like
Yeah.
I was very happy and very honored, honestly, to be able to showcase these new features. Like I said,
Hmm.
the eye tracking, the focusing, the new camera setup. I'm the only thing for me that kind of gets me every time we do these things, and I'll be very frank, is the fact that so we get to play with early hardware, right? We get to play with prototypes, and
Yeah.
then unfortunately, what happens with the situation is that the device for us again in the US, I think that, I thought it was Farhan mentioned it earlier. So you know, Europe's going to get it in a month. We're probably not going to see it till September 1st, probably around that time. We won't be able to talk about Sony again for that much time after it's been so
Yeah.
long, and we won't get a chance to play around with it. I will say though that there was a nice little thing that Sony shared with me was the Pro I and the Pro will be receiving the live streaming functionality as an OTA
Oh,
update.
nice.
I didn't hear anything about the One Mark III. I think the One Mark III should be able to do it. I don't know, but it is, yeah. So the streaming features are coming down, and I feel like Sony's looking into content creation and allowing us to move forward and allow things to so
Yeah.
hopefully when that comes into the Xperia the Pro I, I'll be able to test that out a little bit more, because I literally have maybe 3 more days or so. The
Yeah. It's
For
it's
me
got
it
to
goes
go
back on
back.
Monday.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm gonna rush to try and shoot just a little extra stuff over the weekend, and then
yeah,
it's back in the mail.
it is. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's refreshing because so much of what makes an Xperia unique is
Hmm.
still on display here.
Yeah.
This is a mainstream photography focused device that takes gaming as seriously as most gaming phones. The capabilities for things like screen management, power
Hmm.
management,
Oh man, yeah.
live broadcasting. It's funny. I mean, like I said this in my video, but I do think it's interesting that like outside of gaming phones, like Sony and Motorola are actually hitting the hardest with adding Twitch streaming tools
Hmm.
directly into your gameplay tools, of having direct user controllable screen settings. So if you want to take some of the resources, take some of the load off of your gameplay, you kick the screen down to 60 frames per second. If you want to crank it up to 120, the phone is going to try and hang. The phone is going to try and do what you asked it to do.
Yep.
And opposite like how Samsung has been managing and thermal throttling, opposite how OnePlus puts an artificial cap on
Hmm.
their GPU performance. I mean, there's something kind of interesting and just kind of refreshing that this is an expensive phone, so you need to know what you're doing. It's gonna try to do what you
What
tell
you
it to
asked.
do.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the biggest thing about it. So um, look forward to definitely some more content, hopefully within the next couple of days, even within the next few weeks. I'm sure we're not going to be posting everything at the same time. For me, it's more, I'm just excited for the fact that the device actually has improved this much over last year. And also the fact that Sony's not scared to make the phone a little bit bigger to add more battery. because
And
that's
not
been
that
apparent.
much.
No,
I mean,
honestly,
it's
like
incredible what they have added, though.
you hold the two together, the 3 and the 4, you can barely tell the difference. But then
I
when I
mean, I have the
start looking at the
two,
D, yeah, even there,
and the two. I mean, this is just like it's a millimeter,
it
but
barely
it's also
any
shorter. So the
slightly,
two is actually taller than
yeah.
the four, which is
And
just insane how
for
much they've
me,
been able to like cram in here.
it's the thing that companies are scared for, like the new phone being thicker or bigger. So they'll store for me is 5,000, giving us the better sense, give the better experience across the cameras, the better sensor on the front overall. So I feel like Sony has a very well put together story. We didn't hear anything about the Xperia 5. I don't know if anybody even had. I know the Xperia 10 in Europe was also announced. So the 10 Mark IV is out,
Yeah,
as well as the 1 Mark IV.
yeah. I mean, when the three came out, they didn't have direct confirmation of the whole, all the specs on the phone. But when the one Mark III, we did the pre-brief on the one
Mhm.
Mark III, they mentioned that there would also be a 5 Mark III, and then it'd take even longer for the 5 to come out. This year, they haven't said anything about a
Yeah.
5. And so I don't know. I don't have confirmation, and Sony isn't going to tell us first.
No.
But I am getting the sneaking suspicion that Sony might just go with one premium tier phone for 2022. I don't know that that's what they're going to do, but by now we already would have gotten some kind of tangential announcement or just reveal or even a teaser.
Yeah.
So I think it's possible they might skip the Xperia 5 this year.
And it's a little bit sad because the reality is between the 10 and the 1, the 5 was the petite, the size, the smaller form factor
Yeah.
that you wanted to get. It wasn't the budget friendly. It was definitely the more um compact. Like I feel like it's the
Yeah.
Xperia compact. Really, there was no better way to describe it. So yeah.
And I definitely appreciate folks that are looking for that smaller screened experience. I'm perpetually sad that we don't have more good options, kind of in that sort of iPhone SE
Mhm.
territory.
Yeah, yeah.
Phones that are nicely built, like they don't have to be the most expensive because obviously we're making some hardware compromises, but just
Oh,
so you can get a small phone that doesn't feel like something cheap.
yeah.
But when I've been spending so much time with Pixel 6, and then you pick up a OnePlus 10, and you're like, why does the OnePlus 10 just feel smaller than the Pixel 6 Pro? And then you pick up an Xperia 1, and you're like, how does it have all this stuff, and it feels smaller than any other premium tier phone? I mean, like, it just the amount of innards, like
I was gonna
the
say
SoC,
the feel in the
camera
hand, but yeah.
sensors,
No, yeah.
the battery capacity,
Yep.
and then you pick up a Note 22, and you're like, these are competitive, but the Xperia just feels so much smaller. It's
And
kind of
it does so
remarkable.
much more. It it is. It is truly. And I say this, and it sounds like this episode is sponsored by Sony. I promise you, it's not. It's truly it's a fandom. It's truly a fandom and an experience over many years, over 3 to 4 years, of generational Sony experiences. Even going back already, to the compact line. I remember when Juan
Yeah,
got the Xperia Compact, and it was at the Google. There was a Google meetup for the Nest Home, the Google
get it
Nest
right
Mini.
there.
Yeah. So for me, those are the devices that kind of started the conversation. Um, what we see this year, obviously, it may be a change. Maybe the 5. I think where Farhan was jumping that in there. Yeah, the Pixel,
I'm
the
trying.
Pixel
I
Six
can't show
Pro.
this, but it's like the Xperia 1 Mark IV is just a touch shorter, and it
Mhm.
is noticeably thinner,
Oh, absolutely.
skinnier
The
than the
skinny,
Pixel 6 Pro.
yeah. That's a big thing. Like they don't call them the remote control form factor for nothing. It truly is. That the ability of touching my fingers across is a big win across a flagship. This does not happen with any other phone. So for me, I appreciate that form factor. And I ended up taking the skin off of my Xperia 1 Mark III mostly because I wanted to make sure people knew that this was another phone. That wasn't like another copy or something like that. Not sponsored by Sony. But how about that Sony XM5 earbud? No.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been using the not the free buds, the link buds for the last week or
Oh yeah,
so, and oh my god, open back earbuds are a thing, and they're a thing that need to happen
yeah.
everywhere.
You
Not
digging it?
because so multitasking is a big thing for what I like to do. I am on
Right.
conference calls consistently. I mean, I work from home, so I'm on video calls and conference calls all day long. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I like to listen to podcasts. I like to listen to shows. I want to be able to, watch your SGGQA going on at the same time, but without having it blasting in the office so that I can hear it
Yeah.
over the speakers on the other one. The link buds are small enough that they sit in your ear, obviously. They're open back so that sound comes through. There is no noise cancellation. The purpose of these buds is so that you can
Hmm.
hear what's going around you. So while I have you in my in the ears for on the podcast, I have my headset sitting in from my conference call. I'm able to listen on both ends clearly. You have to play a little bit with the audio levels, obviously, to make sure that no one volume is killing or overpowering the other. And you can multitask so much, and you can play music, you can listen to music, you can listen to a podcast, and not be very stuck into just using one experience and having to listen to no. For anybody that's ever been in a meeting with me, please don't think I'm talking about you specifically, but presentations can get long. Sometimes the monotone kind of gets to the same level and sticks for 20 minutes, because that's how we do it. And I love some mix up. So for me, the link buds were great, for being able to be in two places at once. So that for me was really nice. So it's a
Hmm.
win. The sound is great. I didn't ever since I tried those open backs that you shared with me that one time.
Yeah.
Um, my world has been opened up to, oh, I can do things and be aware of what's going on around me. I don't have to have one or the other, because it happens all the time here. Obviously, I'm in my office and my wife's calling me and I just can never hear her. So yeah, I
For
end up
sure.
getting a WhatsApp message because we're in the other room down the
Oh, my
hall.
wife and I like text each other from upstairs, downstairs. It's hilarious.
It is, it
But
is, it is. But the
so
link buds are
so
serious contenders. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you're enjoying those. I still need to wrap up my review again. Like the time I've had just to sit and enjoy any of this stuff. I feel like I pick something up, I kind of go blah, 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 and I shoot a video, and then I have to like set it aside. And I've got these beautiful Odyssey earbuds over here next to me,
Tachaka and
and
I
at the
were
same
talking about you
time,
about that. Yeah, I got a chance to hang out
well,
with
but
Tachaka a couple
because
times. Yeah.
Aditya was saying we've got to get you into some planers,
Yeah.
because on the podcast this Monday there was an amazing B&H deal alert for for an old neckband. This came out the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and these are
Oh my God, look at
the
that.
earbuds that I was fronting there. I don't know how you pronounce the company name. It's AU Sounds. If it's AU Sounds
Oh,
or O
is it
Sounds or
European?
Ow. I want to say Ow Sounds just because I think that sounds funny, but I'm pretty
It,
sure that's not the name of their
well,
company.
no, if it's French, then it would be O, but AU in French is O.
Sure. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. I should probably look it up, and I just haven't. These were originally a $200 Bluetooth neckband,
Mm-hmm.
dual driver with a planar magnetic driver and a dynamic driver
Okay.
to help kind of fill out the lows, and they were on sale for $30.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So dual
I
driver,
totally missed that one. Okay.
planars, connect over LDAC, so
Mm-hmm.
you do get
Nice.
really, really high quality streaming to your phone. They came in this afternoon. I've listened to 2 songs on them. Because I don't have time to use
Moving on,
any of
moving
these
on.
things.
2 songs is what you could do. Tomorrow, maybe one. Let's go. Yeah.
So in 2 songs, and 2 songs that I normally test with, WTF by OK Go
Mm-hmm.
and Killing in the Name of Rage Against the Machine. Very encouraging first listen.
For
I can
$30.
totally appreciate why some people might have had some review concerns at the full MSRP $200. They get a little bright, so there were some like cymbal and distortion sounds that almost came in shrill. But at $30,
$30.
these things are unbelievable.
And honestly, we haven't been seeing that many neckband style earbuds coming out on the
No.
market, because
Yeah.
if you've ever lost one of your buds, like I've done in the past with my OnePlus buds at In and Out by just leaving it on the tray and frantically
Yup.
tossing it, It is it is absolutely a lifesaver, and I missed those days also from OnePlus's neckbands and LG's
Yeah.
neckband solution. So not
So yeah,
bad. 29.
dual driver planars,
Oh, he got them for
hyper
50.
articulate in the mids.
Yeah, yeah.
ANC, the
Hmm.
ANC is pretty good. The audio pass through, it was windy when I was wearing them, and the audio pass through was super susceptible to that wind impact sound. So I had to immediately turn it back off. I don't know that I can use their pass through.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, if they're regularly on sale between 50 and $60, getting them for 30 just feels like highway robbery
Hi,
that
Robert. Yeah,
benefits me.
yeah. You should feel guilty just getting them at that price. Yeah.
But like, oh damn. And especially when you compare them against like purpose-built $30 true wireless.
Hmm.
Oh man, these
Foams
things
at
are
the mouth.
good.
Yeah, yeah. No, no.
So
Send me the link.
there's
Yeah, send me the link. I'll see if I can
I'll
grab them
shoot
as
it over.
well.
Yeah, because let me pull them back up on B&H because they're not on sale anymore. But even
Well,
at a reduced price, I would
I
say these are
they
absolutely worth a
I
look.
wonder. I wonder if they're still under the EDU special. We'll have to see. 'Cause
Oh,
sometimes
yeah, that's a good call.
because I work for day job
No, no, no,
is
but check it out. Yeah,
educational. Let's just say
if
that.
they carry over sales a little bit longer.
Yeah, yeah. No, typically B&H has some decent. Like I usually get their EDU specials as well.
Okay, so here's the deal. All right, I'm gonna blow some minds. Let me drop this into the chat. This is I'm gonna put it out there. The deal isn't as good, but where they were $29.95 on Monday, they're now $40. They're $39.95. If that link shows up in the chat.
It shows up, but
So
I don't think I
the
can.
Sounds AU Flex,
Okay.
$40. That is still phenomenally good. This is
Oh, I
acoustic
pulled out
performance.
the $160 version. The AU Flex. Let me take that out. See if maybe I can
So
pick.
I got them for $10 less than what you would buy them currently at. They're older.
Mhm.
There are some weaknesses, like I said, for some of the audio pass through. People still might need to hit them with a little EQ, but the detail and articulation of the planar, backed up by the low frequency punch of the dynamic driver, is uncomparable at
They
under
have
$50.
they
There
have a
is
very
no
large
pair of
selection of.
Bluetooth
Mhm.
$50 earbud that is going to touch what I've already heard in the two songs that I've listened to. I'm very impressed. I'm
Okay.
I'm I'm already. I'm going to be rocking these all weekend. I'm
I
probably going to
can't
give
copy
myself an ear
the
infection.
link, but I will come back and click it a little bit later afterwards because I can't in the chat because we're in StreamYard. Every time I hover over the link, it wants me to show it or hide it, and I cannot select it
Well,
because
here,
it's
let me
not a
let me send
text.
it to you in the private chat.
Yeah, maybe
We can
that'll
do
help.
we can
Yeah, I
do
was
that.
gonna say. Oh yeah, yeah, that
But
works.
yeah, so yeah.
Oh yeah, there's still 30 even on the EDU side, but that's actually it's not bad. Oh, it's 40, not 30. Instant
Yeah.
savings. I like that. Instant savings, $160. I'm like, crap.
I mean, it's a bummer because like the excitement is not on neck bands, but even for all of the incredible true wireless earbuds on my desk right now,
Hmm.
one of the first that I reach for are my the One More Sport neck bands.
Oh yeah.
So this is now probably gonna get retired for this AU Flex. It's real good.
I
I'm
appreciate it.
I'm I'm very chuffed. And again, just like for even just saving the $10, it's like I got them on sale, and I got
Uh,
them on sale on sale.
it's in the shopping bag. Let's just say that it's in the shopping bag. I have a couple more things I want to pick up from there as well, and I'll close up my tab tomorrow morning. But yeah, no, thank you for the recommendation in there. And like I said, for me, it's been it's still a constant look for the right balanced pair of buds. And for me, when I got the
Mhm.
link buds, I was kind of did it make sense? I mean, I really like ANC. I really like being in that kind of
Yeah.
bubble. I want to be by myself kind of thing. But having
But it's the
them
same
in,
experience I have with bone conduction. It's like I
yeah,
need one tool for when I want to block everything out, and I need a
absolutely. I
different tool
haven't
when I need
reached
to
that
open
level.
everything up.
I thought I had one an agreement with a company that was going to send me a pair of a good bone conduction buds or headset, but we never got that. Never materialized. Never happened. So for me, the only experience I've had as far as awareness is always been using the pass through, right?
Yeah.
Like turning on pass through, shutting out the music and lane, listening to it, and not turning on ANC, so that the moment I shut off the music, I'm able to hear things around me without having to be disconnected. um this just seriously, like if you have the volume level at certain decibel level, and it doesn't have to go that high, because it feels like you have a speaker that's sitting really close to your ears. It's that type of experience with these buds. It's not very you don't feel like you're in a tunnel. That open back experience changes the perception. So like even when we were at the Pixel event, I had to jump on a call in the middle of my sitting in there and enjoying the show, but I didn't want to disconnect and not have to be on it. So I literally was doing both at the same time, and it just works absolutely great. So for multitasking,
Hmm.
these are definitely really good buds. Good battery life, very small, like like the size is absolutely minuscule
Yeah,
compared to some of the other ones. And then
for
when
sure.
you now that I'm like trying to just show it to everybody, did I disconnect from the camera? Yes, of course I disconnected from the camera, because I just well, I'm trying to save, because the whole the tablet
No, I
was
know,
running
I know.
low.
I just
So
gotta
here we're
chuckle.
back.
It's fine.
Okay, let's see. Can we get them to bam? Here you go. Tiny little buds, like seriously, one of the best solution. No wireless charging, none of the fancy schmancy things, but open backs. You got
Yeah.
to think about it. You got to check it out. So for sure.
So
So
again, using the right tool for the right job,
yeah,
something open ear, but not just I put an unsealed driver right in front of my ear canal
yeah, no,
is
no.
a really great audio tool to
Hmm.
have in your arsenal. On that note, we should probably switch gears. I completely spaced, and on my Monday morning stream, my viewers were all like, "Hey Juan, you're doing all these predictions for Google I/O. Don't you think there are going to be some Pixel Buds?" And my viewers were way smarter than I was. It's like I was going through all these rumors and leaks, and they're like, "I don't know, what else could they show?"
I
And they're
learned
like,
so much from the comments in my
"One."
shows on Saturday. It's crazy, but yes,
So
it's go
so
on,
Pixel Buds Pro.
bro.
We're going to be getting some. I kind of wish they weren't called Pro. I wish they would call them Pixel Buds ANC. But for everything that I like about Pixel Buds,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
always bothered me that they don't have a sealed solution.
Hmm.
So I love this strategy now where we've got the Pixel Buds A series, which are open. They
Hmm.
have that venting so that you can kind of hear a little of what's going on around you. And
Yep.
then they'll be finally introducing a proper active noise canceling earbud. And I like that
With
combo for
pass
people
through,
to have choices.
with it actual true seal around the ear to isolate the audio and provide you. I mean,
Hmm.
all the things that we've been wanting from, well, not been wanting. We've wanted an option from Google to provide us. I mean, we've seen the other options; they work very nicely. The A series surprisingly much better at connectivity than what we saw originally with the original Pixel Buds.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
excited to see what the Buds Pro how they perform. Um, the one thing that kind of struck me at the beginning is the mixing of colors in the packaging, which was like, okay,
Yeah.
I wanted one to be like an all orange one, like give me one that's an all Pixel 4 XL
Yeah.
colorway, but still, absolutely, I think if there was one thing this Google I/O for me has been, it's been like a deluge of information and I wanted more. I didn't want it to stop. I wanted them to say and like and then some, and oh by the way, oh by the way,
Well,
oh
then
by the
they
way.
did.
I did. It just
I
kept
mean, it got off
going.
to kind of a slow start with some of their conversation about search and services, and I
Yeah, yeah.
understand that it's a developer conference.
It's
I'm not
Google,
their
right?
target
It's a search
demo
engine.
for.
First and foremost, everybody in the world, if they know
Yeah,
what Google is, they think it's a search engine. They don't think of Pixel at first. I mean, we do, but you know
but
what I
once
mean.
they started rolling into like
Android
services
13.
and then hardware,
Oh yeah.
it got pretty crazy. So I'm
I
very anxious to see what they do with Pixel Buds.
hmm. Yep.
Now it's, and I agree with Jeff here. I kind of wish they had done like Pixel Buds, Pixel Buds ANC,
Hmm.
and then some type of like next year come out with some over ear Pixel cans or something.
It'd be
That's the trio that I want, and I
just don't call
really
them.
wish they hadn't called the A series the A series, because it's not. cheaper or lesser than. It's kind of like AirPods, AirPods Pro, and
Well, I
AirPods
mean, I
Max.
think the reason why it
It's
was the A
just they're,
series, it is a little bit so feature wise, is it didn't have the same features as the standard
no,
Pixel Bud, right?
I
We didn't have
understand that,
swipe the volume control.
but
I
I kind of
understood.
wish that the Pixel Buds were the starter, and then there'd be an adjective
I
for the
know.
improved versions.
And it feels like we're still like 2 years ago in this first generation of Pixel Buds, and we just keep
Yeah,
an like when do we go to Pixel Buds 2? When does that
yeah.
happen? What's the qualifier for the Buds Pro not to be called like 3 or 2 or Pixel
Pixel
cans? I like that.
cans.
I wanted to add a word,
But
but yeah,
we've
go.
got the two earbuds that I'm wanting to see, and now
Yeah.
what I think is going to be a critical next step for Google is demonstrating. I'm not expecting them to just immediately come out the gate with like the most performant audio quality solution. We've got some boutique players. We've
Mhm.
got, I mean, again, I just held up this neckband. I recently just spent time with the One Mores. The One Mores are very good. A
Mhm.
few for a few little software teething pains. These are excellent. You've been playing with the Edifier.
Yeah.
I there I've got too many things on my desk right now. I've got like another pair of earbuds here that I can't even remember what the name of the company is. I've got like a bird on the logo. Amazing stuff. All of this stuff is great. Now,
Yeah.
what I think Google needs to do to stand out is to demonstrate better interaction for software and services, which genuinely I have not enjoyed. Pixel Bud A series get close,
Mhm.
but I still feel like the absolute best user interaction has still been LG Tone neckbands,
Okay.
where they
Yeah.
used
Yeah. I
to
haven't
have
had a chance to
that
play with those yet.
assistant.
Mhm.
So they had this dictation button on the neckband on that hardware where an alert would come in and you'd hear this little bloop and you could hit the button real quick and it would read off the alert, and then there would be like this just momentary pause after the completion of the alert and you could reply. And it was just this like walkie-talkie back and forth doing brilliant speech to text transcription. I would have entire text conversations with my wife, never typing anything, only using this voice interaction, this kind of walkie-talkie style voice
Mhm.
interaction and notification system. And I need something like that from Pixel Buds. I need something that takes audio interactions more seriously,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we can only dedicate so much visual attention to every smart task. And if I'm walking around a Costco and I'm pushing a shopping basket and I'm wrangling Lex and I've got an earbud in and someone texts me, or I get like, a messenger message of some kind, and I can just tap it, immediately reply, have that go back out. I mean, I don't want to have to keep juggling my phone or fiddling around with my watch. It's already right there. And that
All
to
right.
me, I think is the area where Google can stand apart, because we are flush for
I
absolutely incredible earbud options right
absolutely.
now,
There
and
is.
we need
It's
the
hard
tech
to
to
find
take a
bad
next
ones.
step.
It's hard to find bad ones.
Yeah,
We
you
are
have
we
to
are at the
go
point
out of
now
your
where you
way.
have to go out of your way to find a bad pair of buds, at any price point. So that was the big part that was very excited to see, that we did see that materialize. Obviously, the 6A, we kind of covered that at the beginning a little bit already, and then then we start talking about Pixel Watch. Like, it actually did show up. He had it yeah, on
Did
him,
you
and it
see?
was like,
Did you
what
see
happened?
it was the Wear OS subreddit?
Uh huh.
So right into the beginning of Google I/O, someone screen caps, one of the women presenters is wearing the new Pixel Watch. It made an appearance at Google
Oh,
I/O,
I
and then literally
actually.
like 5 minutes later, they're just
It's
like,
a
and here's the Pixel.
So actually, okay. So I thought that the same thing. The first few presenters in that were, those watches looked more like a Galaxy Watch to me than a Pixel Watch.
Oh,
Once
okay,
you
fair
saw the
enough.
Pixel Watch later on, it actually looks it's very pronounced. The reason I
Yeah,
say that it's a Samsung, it's because of the band connector on the side.
yeah,
The Pixel Watch has it's more of a the way they showed it to us, not like I have one. It's like a slide and lock kind of a thing, and it's more connected, and it's really more flush. The ones I saw before was like, are those the Pixel Watches? Are they not? The screen wasn't lighting up as they were turning their hands. You know what I mean? Like, they were doing
yeah.
nothing was lighting up, and I was like, nah, it doesn't look like it has that crown. The one he was wearing at the end, it was definitely it looked more like we finally saw the the infamous Pixel Watch. And then of course, marry that with the fact that it's going to come out around the Pixel 7 and the 7 Pro
Yeah.
um, later on. And I think that was the other exciting part. Google no longer wanting to basically say, "Hey, we're going to play this leaks and rumors for the next 3 to 4 months, and
Mhm.
then drop the thing." No, we're just going to we're going to tell you what it looks like now, so you just don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It's going to, what it looks like.
I'm
Vendor
I'm
is there.
I'm liking this strategy a lot better
Yeah,
because
be open about
the
it. Why do
the
secrets? There's no point.
well, but I mean, I feel like Google also learned from some of their initial constrained supply chain issues. I don't believe the Pixel 5 was really the phone they wanted to launch
Yeah, no,
as the Pixel 5. And I feel like this is a much better strategy. Again, people complain, "Oh, well, Sony, they're going to miss they're coming out too late. Oh, they're delayed." And you're like, "They're not. This is Sony's strategy. This isn't a mistake in their manufacturing. This is by design how they're going to satisfy some regions first, and then they're going to ship products later."
Mhm.
And if you know what's going on and you're actually good at tech, you understand, like, Sony announces way early. If anyone's interested in an Xperia, they know it's coming, and they
Mhm.
know that they can save up for it. That there's always a window there, and
Yep.
I like that strategy better. Where Google saying, like, let's just end the speculation. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is when we think it's going to be ready, and it's coming now. Anyone who was maybe considering a Pixel 6 Pro knows how long they need to wait,
For a
and they
7
know
Pro.
what the Pixel 7 is going to look like,
Mhm.
and then they can make that choice. Do I want to get the Pixel 7 Pro, or do I want to get a Pixel 6 Pro at a reduced price? I
Yeah,
know
like
when that's going to
no
happen.
other company announces the design of our phone, especially because
Not that explicitly, yeah.
yeah, or not that early even. It's like, okay, we'll see you in 5 months or 4 or 5 months. It'll be there. This is what it looks like, and here's the colors. Just just make sure you set your interest here. I like that. I like that was a nice
Yeah.
surprise. I didn't know this. I mean, the announcement of the 7 was somewhat of a surprise for me. I kind of started to feel like when they brought in hardware, that it looked like we were going to be with the oh, and by the way, and of course, we
Yeah.
have to talk about. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for the watch. I'm excited for the tablet. I'm
Yeah.
excited for the buds, the 7 Pro and the 6A. All of those are super, super exciting. I'm even
Yeah.
excited about the tablet and the fact that they're trying to
Hmm.
go back into the tablet form factor. But what got me going, what got me emotional in the middle of this announcement was their acquisition of the Focal by North and their
Hmm.
new, whatever they
AR
want to call them,
glasses.
Pixel AR, Bender, whatever, glass, yada, yada.
Yeah.
To me, that
Oh, I got
conversational translation with the in display,
real lit
in
up.
live, oh my God. And they were driving for that emotional thing. But for me, it was like, whoa, imagine traveling with one of those. Imagine being in a conversation with a family member that maybe doesn't even speak your language because they're obviously older generation from the old country or something. Just to me, these are the things that I always kind of like find
Hmm.
very emotional there. So that whole mom and daughter, that whole dad and son and kind of thing. So yeah, I want that
I,
yesterday. I want it like 2 years ago.
I tweeted the exact same thing. I needed these on my face yesterday.
Yeah, no, and this is the level this is the things I was hoping for Focal to come out
Yeah.
with their second generation before they got bought out, and I'm happy to see that Google is not, this
I'm
is
I'm
not one of
s-
those acquisitions that just disappears. They're
I'm
working.
hoping
It's
so
coming.
bad that they actually did leverage some of the UI and
Hmm.
some of the some of the tech from Focals.
Yeah.
What Focals needed help with was the optics, because you couldn't share the Focals experience.
Oh,
It
I
was
know.
so biologically
But
customized to
customized
your
to you.
eye. You couldn't just take them off and hand them to someone else and say, "Here, try this," because literally the shape of their face was all wrong to use those glasses.
It's
But
their
I've
fault. Yeah.
still
I see what you're saying.
I've been telling people, and it's like, unless you really wore them, you did not know how incredibly fluid and responsive and fast that UI was. No smartwatch, no Apple Watch, no Wear Watch, no Galaxy Watch was anywhere near as fluid in interaction as the Focals, and they had some of the best. speech to text transcription I've ever used. So, like I was saying with the LG tones, you would click this
Mm.
button and you could do this thing. You would wear this ring on your focals and you could, click and navigate through their menus and stuff like that. That I understand why some people felt that was a little clunky, but once you got good at it,
Mm-hmm.
it was so much more responsive than any like flick up and turn this dial and move around on this watch. And so I know like what they're showing off is this very human interest. It's the emotional thing that people need to see,
Mm-hmm.
so they understand why might you want to use AR glasses, because Google is the company that gave us Google Glass. There's not a lot of trust there.
Mm-hmm.
But the second you get turn by turn directions at eye level and you're walking around this neighborhood and it tells you like, oh, coming up and around, you're just going to turn left here at this next intersection, and it's a visual that like
Mm-hmm.
pops up. There's an arrow exactly when you're supposed to turn. As soon as you see, a Discord message pop up into your field of view, and you click and you just talk a reply and you click it again, and it goes,
Yeah.
and you're having conversations with your pals on Discord. So much of this stuff that is a constant distraction for picking up our phone and referencing a smartwatch, it is so much faster and it is so much less disruptive when that stuff is popping up at eye level, so that you can interact with it or immediately disregard it.
Yeah.
And I know people go, oh, but you're going to see all these people who aren't even like looking at their, their lunch dates anymore. And you're like, it is so much less distracting than picking up a phone. It's so much less rude than looking at a watch. And if it's a piece of information that you don't need to interact with, like the distraction looks like this. And you're like, that's it, and you're done.
Yeah.
that was all you
Absolutely.
needed to do to like wipe away a notification that you don't care about. So
Those
so
are
I
the
know
things. Yeah.
like they totally got me too. They totally got me with the feels of, now I can talk to my grandmother and now I can, do this real-time translation. Literally everything you turn to a smartwatch for is going to get way better when you can put it in your field of view as
Mm-hmm.
something that you can look through. So even when it does pop up, you can make the choice to look at it or just look past it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so much better. I've been dying to return to some kind of heads up display.
Same.
And
Same.
I actually have a lot of faith that Google, after stumbling so bad on Google Glass, that Google can actually come out with a new flavor of this that is going to be consumer accessible, that it's going to
Yeah.
be ready to go.
And it doesn't look like it's just going to be. It doesn't look like 2022 is the year. Maybe 2023.
Yeah.
And on that note, one thing that I really liked about CES this year was at TCL. TCL showed off
Mm-hmm.
prototype AR glasses. It's very
Yep.
kind of like what this design looks like,
Yeah.
except they had a carousel navigation system, which it was still being developed. I mean, the UI was not final by any means, but it looked very much like what this device is trying to do. It's that whole pass through and the display, and they were using actually dual displays on each one. They had two separate pieces
Yeah.
of displays sitting in there with TCL. So I'm looking forward to this type of technology. AR, augmented reality, even not just for gaming, but also for navigation, like you said, um, translation, information, search results, all of those things. I feel like don't necessarily. I mean, it's functional to have it on the watch, but it's
Yeah.
so much more convenient and keeps you in the moment when you're on it with your glasses. Especially since I wear glasses. This is to me not that
Yeah.
big a difference. It may be obviously a different frame,
Sure.
but so
I
that's what
don't
got me
wear
excited the
glasses,
most.
and I will.
Wear less.
And again, I'm really hoping that they go with more of a heads up display instead of
Mhm.
trying to make them too ARE
Oh no,
out
no,
of the
absolutely.
box.
I think the
You
function of
know?
this is it's more of a heads up, and it is definitely that type of experience. I'm hoping that by the time they're out, the battery tech is supporting enough long enough battery usage, because I always worry about these things. Their small form factor, their usability, constant
Mhm.
connection, GPS connectivity. Start adding functional things to be able to know how
Yeah.
to do those turn by turns and stuff. To me, all I'm thinking right now is power draw, and the reality
Yeah.
is, yeah, you're challenged by the physical aspects of the device. But with that being said, I'm
Yeah,
happy
we
to
got a ways
see.
to go on that.
No, I know. I/O is hardware, software central. I like the functionality of being able to use, search near me. That was a very
Mhm.
functional thing, especially when we're traveling. You want to be able to do local search, but also do
Yeah.
local searches with images. So you're doing double queries at the same time. That excited me as well. Just
Yeah,
more
and
functional things, becoming
the new
more.
polish to Google Maps just
Oh,
looked
absolutely. Yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah. And
You know, it seems like every major iteration of Google Maps, we get just a little bit more Google Earth
yeah, yeah,
mixed
yeah, yeah,
in, and
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
I get it. I don't need it, but that's fun. So I like what they're doing there.
I will say there was that one slightly cringe moment, although it's a very functional feature that they were
Only
talking
one.
about.
I mean, it's a developer conference. There were a
It's a
few pretty
developer,
cringe
yeah.
moments.
So that one, so I like the fact that they're trying to minimize the need to say the keyword, right? The OKG kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
And with this, with the Nest Hub Max, that one demo where she was having to look close and bring down her face to kind of
Yeah.
get it to recognize. I'm hoping there's improvements on that, but I
For
like
sure.
that function because to me it is. So I have quite a few of them in the house, which gets crazy because
Hmm.
it's weird. Sometimes we're in the living room and I'll call out the command, and for the weirdest reason, the kitchen answers. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
heard it, but the living room also, and for some reason the algorithm thought I'm in the kitchen, so give that priority. So those things a little bit kind of become more functional when you're in the kitchen, you're cooking, you don't have to say the word, you're able to just do things. So yeah, for me is I like it. I like the minimalism of focals brought into the UI. Keep it like that. In essence, don't make it overcrowded and distracting. The goal of bringing information without taking attention away. Like
Completely.
Juan said, just
And
it's supposed to be that way.
and I just want to shout this out. Chris Lopez has asked a whole bunch of questions. Unfortunately, we were seeing what you're writing, Chris, but we talked about the One Mark IV at the
Yes.
beginning of this podcast. So yeah, we both been rocking the One Mark IV. But you can catch some of our other thoughts in the first 45
Yeah, I mean, if
minutes.
you're watching on YouTube, you
So
can definitely scroll back, Chris. Hopefully,
so
let-
and hey Donald, thanks
oh
for
yeah,
jumping
Don
in.
Lozino's jumping in.
So I was very encouraged by Google's bolder hardware strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very anxious to see them do a tablet right. Like if we get into 2023 and you have a very cost competitive tablet, maybe even running Tensor 1, maybe they don't go to
Mm-hmm.
Tensor 2
Oh, absolutely.
for their 2023 tablet. I'd really like to see what they think a modern tablet experience should look like, because I think there are some gaps in the iPad strategy. And we've seen like Lenovo's put out some incredible gear. Obviously, Samsung's been killing it. The
TCL
Galaxy
also
tabs
has some
are
decent
brilliant.
experiences. Still not in the
Yes,
premium, but it's more,
for sure.
budget friendly.
But again, Google's not going to. I wonder. I don't think they will. But they're
Mhm.
probably not going to be relying on Qualcomm. So this is
No.
another opportunity for Google to show we are defining what an Android slate should be. We're not going to put another UI on it like Samsung will. We're not going to be relying on mid-range or inexpensive hardware just to make carriers happy, like a TCL might.
Mhm.
Not to say anything bad about TCLs, but
No,
now
no.
this is an opportunity for
You have to
Google
understand. Yeah, TCL's
to
approach
define
and
it.
business plan
Yeah,
is very much carrier specific. You see that in 2022, where
for
they're
sure.
no longer in the unlocked market.
But
Every version they're releasing is that. But yeah.
but like Tensor on a phone, now Google needs to demonstrate why is it that we're doing this specific proprietary hardware initiative,
Hmm.
and they've got to be able to demonstrate like, does Android make sense on a larger screen? Because for the last couple of years, you've been telling us bigger screens should be Chrome OS. So now this is kind of a course correct. Show me why we want to follow you on this course correct, and why are tablets interesting again. Not just because of the pandemic. You've got to give me another reason why a slate makes sense.
Well,
So I'm
with Chrome,
very
with Chrome
interested to see
sales
what they say.
actually now more normalizing. We're in that normalizing part of it because of
Oh
that
man.
pandemic kind of spike that everybody wanted Chromebooks and so on. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, what got me though is their prototype demonstration literally looked like the Nest Hub Max taken
Yeah.
off the base. I
It
was
did.
like,
It was
okay, like
boink.
we need a tablet. We need to put it on screen. It's going to come out
Or
next year. Don't worry about what the hardware looks like.
like how
Okay,
hilarious would it be if they like the next Nest Max is just a tablet on a
that
magnet.
it would be
Clamp.
crazy if they release it that way and they're like, hey, do you want to take it out with you? Just take it off the magnet and walk away, put it in your backpack. You come back home, you plop it in, and you're back in the game. I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. But at the end of the day, it's exciting that development or the developer IO keynote had so much, or not just the keynote, the overall structure
Mhm.
focused on everything that Google does. It's not just the software. Because for the last couple of years, even though they separated the hardware from the software, conversations, you know what? At the end of the day, people need to be able to use hardware to experience these software experiences that you're talking about. Magic Eraser and all those other software optimizations that you're talking about
Yeah.
typically come out to Pixel devices first, and rightfully so. So it's nice to see that they married the two together. And yes, we have to look forward to July. Yes, we have to look forward to September, October. But you know what? It's not that different of a story. We've seen this before, and yeah, July will be here before we even know it. So so it's a great way to kind of cap off the summer, with some nice hardware. Um, I wanted to mention one extra thing that one of the reasons why I'm extremely tired on a Thursday afternoon or Thursday evening here is because so at MWC 2022, I had the
Mhm.
opportunity. I was lucky enough to be able to go to the Honor launch event where they launched this guy. So
Oh,
this is
hey.
the Honor Magic 4. I was hoping we had this with us last Friday when we were hanging out, because that would have
Mhm.
been perfect for me to test it out with Clark and get
Yeah.
her, just get some of those, just to see how the images, because I didn't. So don't get me wrong, I was very happy with the Xperia 1 Mark IV. I knew this one was coming. I just had no idea when it was going to show up, and it showed up on Monday. So, and of course, weird enough, I like the embargo on the Magic 4. Everybody that wants to do embargoes, please do them at 9 p.m. UK time. I love that because
Great.
that's 1 p.m. my time, and it's like cruising. Although I was
Cake.
also, it would have been perfect if I landed it. I still missed it, but I was only about an hour or so later. It takes time and day job and so on. But um, Magic 4, seriously, from the couple of days that I've had an opportunity to check it out, solid performer. Everything that I've always expected from Honor is here. Good stereo speakers, a decent camera stack on the back. I need to test it out a little bit more. So we may go to the Huntington Library this weekend just to kind of a little bit more dynamic range and outdoor
Nice.
photography.
Yeah.
And I want to test that telephoto. It has a decent 64 megapixel camera as a telephoto, like 64. Like what in the
Do you know what size the sensor is on that? Like not just the resolution, but or do you know what the
yes.
actual pixel pitch is?
No, I don't have the pixel pitch, but I do have the sensor. I want to say, hold on, let me jump into
Is it the
my.
new 1/2.7?
I will tell you in approximately. I need to pull up the sheet. I don't have the specs. I did not. No, I do not have that
Putting
one.
you on the spot.
Please,
Putting
send me
you
out.
on
No.
the spot.
So here, where is it? Oh, here. Okay. Like I can't find the experience. Oh dang it. Okay, I don't have it downloaded here. I'm hoping the file that I can download it is and of
Fair.
course net. Okay. So the
Fair.
file is
I can literally see you opening things in the reflection of your
no.
glasses.
Yeah, seriously. So typically we get our obviously our guides and so on. They typically
Right,
give
right,
us all the
right,
information.
right.
But I downloaded it on the PC behind me because I don't so
Ah,
in all fairness, the
it's
setup that we
tricky.
use for live streaming is purely for live streaming, and I don't do anything else with it. Because again, PowerHouse is behind me. So I will definitely I'll send you that, and then you can check it out and see all the little beautiful details in there. It's definitely there's interesting things done in this phone, which I don't understand a little bit. Like when you're taking photography, there is a
Mhm.
1x, 3x, and then you jump into the 10x. The 64, the telephoto doesn't kick in till 10x. It does not kick in so they do primary full resolution, digital crop, then optical jump.
Mm.
And then for me in video, I haven't been able to I haven't figured out a way on how to turn on the camera to just shoot with the telephoto, because I was at a music concert this morning for Omar. So at the end of
Mhm.
the year with music and so on, they do a performance, and today was the day. So I was sitting all the way in the back, and I wanted to test it out, and I got a lot of good shots. but I was using the main sensor, the main 50 with digital crop. So I kept it at 2x at the most
Oh,
because I
gotcha.
started to see a little bit of distortion as I go higher.
Yeah.
It wasn't super well lit. It was indoors with some
Yeah,
natural
it's
lights coming in.
concert stuff is yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just say this: the the videos didn't look too bad. The pictures though look really nice. At the 64 at the 10x, it's actually pretty clear. So I enjoyed that. But again, I'm still trying to experience all the different lenses on the back. And then we
So
have
according to GSM Arena,
very
the
rare level. Yes.
64 megapixel sensor
Oh, right.
is a half inch
Hmm.
with a 3.5 times. So it's kind of closing in at around an equivalent of a 90 millimeter field of view.
That's not bad.
That would be really interesting to play with because one of my favorite camera sensors on any phone right now is the
80.
4
Oh,
times zoom
mhm.
on the Pixel 6 Pro. And
Okay.
that's also a half inch sensor. There aren't a lot of telephotos that get that big. I think it's the Pixel 6 Pro. I think the Mi 11 Ultra
Oh,
had a
okay.
half
Yeah.
inch on the telephoto, and now this Honor. And if you can force it over into that 90 millimeter, and it's on a half inch sensor, it is so much better than
It
using most other phones crop zoom when it's dark
and that's what it was.
indoors.
But I noticed it only
So
kicks
good.
in at that crop factor. So
Yeah.
it may just be a couple of software updates to get more functionalities out of it.
Or I
Um,
mean, just so that it's better conveyance. Because
exactly.
again,
And
I've even had some really like I feel bad. Like I don't want to. I was talking to this guy on Instagram. He's like, "Oh, I love this shot," and you're like, "Oh, thanks. I took it on the Pixel 6." And you're like, "Yeah, isn't it great how you can do macro shots from the telephoto?" And you're like, "Oh, yeah, you can't. It doesn't do that. That is absolutely not what's happening." You know what? I'm not going to pick this fight right now. He just likes his phone. So I'm just going to let him like his phone, but he's completely incorrect.
no,
And
ultra wide
and
at its best, maybe, but not the telephoto. But yeah.
and so you know, it's those kinds of things like the way that we get that software crop that slides the zoom
Hmm.
confuses so many people. Like they don't know what camera sensor they're using. And I wish like the manual modes are so much more like I for example I really like on the X70 Pro Plus, you go into manual mode and like you just tell it what sensor, and if it's too low light for that sensor, you're too close, you're just going to end up with an awful shot. And I'm not saying that the phone should let you fail, but I
Hmm.
wish it was as clear which sensor you're using, because in auto modes it's constantly moving because of
Oh,
light and because of distance, and you never really know what sensor you're on.
so, and I think the other thing that I think the main limitation where I think the reason why I wasn't able to jump into the telephoto, they've focused the 4K 60 only on the main 50. You can shoot 4K 30 on the ultra wide, and I'm almost tempted to say, because I
Mhm.
was recording Omar at 4K 60, I didn't want to use any other version
Right.
of 4K. Let me just jump over down to 4K 30. I feel like maybe at this point, let's jump here. And nope. See, the telephoto is the center sensor.
It's that center one, yeah. Yeah, it's
See,
blocked out.
you still see me. Yeah, it's beautiful beard right here, but you still see me. And that's at the 10x. Yeah, let's try the 5. Nope, not even close. I don't know why on in the video mode you can't use the ultra wide and you cannot use the telephoto. You're stuck to the main 50. I understand it's the best sensor, but I
Yeah.
want actually not telephoto. I take that back. The ultra wide, yeah, no, ultra wide does get recognized. The telephoto just doesn't. The 10x. So yeah, at 5x it looks good, but I feel like 2x 2x zoom or 2x digital crop for me is okay. I don't mind that
Hmm.
because it's not that much of a crop. You're still really taking like a very nice image. So I stuck to that with the video for Omar. So I enjoyed that. But I need to spend more time with it. This is why I didn't do a review. I wanted to do a hands-on because it's just too much time. I'm coming off of a Sony, still have to do more coverage on Sony and then
Hmm.
this in. But desktop mode is still there, works beautifully, wirelessly wired. I was so happy to see that. Um, speakers are really nice. The gaming experience, the 3D face unlock option built into it, a really nice second generation Qualcomm fingerprint sensor, really fast.
Yeah,
So
I
a lot
mean,
of things.
Russ just pointed that out. Like, we have actually haven't had that since the LG G8.
Yeah, no, to me,
outside
it's
of Huawei and Honor phones.
nobody
They're
care.
the
Yeah,
only
nobody
ones.
bothers. Yeah, unlocking or no, was it the G8 and then it was the Pixel 4, right? The 4 XL with
Pixel
the
4 didn't
Project
have a
Solar.
fingerprint sensor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the 3D
No, no,
face
I mean
unlock. Yeah,
both.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that should be on all phones is having true secure face unlock and a good fingerprint sensor. We should
It,
have both.
and I have to say that Huawei and Honor have been the people to carry. And then of course we have an IR blaster because why not?
They're
Why
fun.
not? All the things. So this is going to definitely, yeah, you need a little bit more time. Oh, and then I was able to pick up 5G on AT&T of all companies. I'm surprised.
Nice.
I was like,
I know
okay.
AT&T was going to go all in on the Mate 10 Pro.
Oh man, I
Maybe
remember.
there's just like a little legacy.
Oh man, I remember that
Honor still
CES
knows
like it
how to
was a.
support AT&T bands and stuff. I don't know.
Well, let's hope we didn't just announce something that's going to get nuked tomorrow. But
No, AT&T's like, oh, we got to make sure not to whitelist that phone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, actually, I will say this: AT&T has been more controlling of what devices work and don't work on their services
Yeah.
as of late, which is surprising because they're they're more controlling than they really need to because it's not like they're providing like this super ultimate experience. I'm not saying that they're bad, but
Right.
just they're not the best. But they're the most controlling of all. And then surprisingly, this one literally not only pick up 5G, but easily pulling in 80, 90 megabits down, in my area, which is not bad. So, a lot of things to talk about
Hmm.
this week. No
And a
more
lot of things coming up
embargoes.
too.
No, well, there are things coming up, but at least for me, I'm finally able to say I'm done with embargoes for today. I can't say it forever, just for today.
I got stuff out today. I still have things on my desk that I can't show you.
Um, yeah,
But I did
I
remember
have
the name of this company. The other earbuds, the ones with
yeah,
the birds on them, are Libertones. So
Libertones. Okay,
these are also really, really nice. And, like they're
okay,
built to feel almost like the Master and Dynamic,
okay.
the Qualcomm
Oh, that
Snapdragon
heavy.
sound buds.
Oh,
Not that
speaking of which,
heavy, but like everything's like it's like got nice heft to it, the hinge
uh-huh.
and everything, the display, like the build.
Hmm.
It's like some of the money on these earbuds is definitely going into packaging and presentation where some other earbuds are just like, "Hey, it charges your earbuds." This is like reveal your audio solution. They have
A
like
little
little
bit.
lights for when they're charging and stuff. They're pretty fancy.
On the last thing, I know we're running a little bit late, but so Motorola, we talked about them a couple of times. And obviously, the Edge, I have the Edge Plus 2022 uh, uh, has just received the update hardware wise that we were hoping for, which is the case and stylus are now available
Yes.
to purchase on Verizon slash um, Motorola site for $80.
Yes.
And I
You gonna grab
so
it?
I want to, but I don't. The thing about it is my phone is a loaner, and I have to send as soon as I'm done with it, I have to send it back, and they keep asking me to return it. I asked if there was any chance of getting maybe the other one, the case and the pen, so I can test them out and just send them back together. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm a little bit hesitant on spending $80 on an accessory on a phone that I don't get that I unfortunately won't be able to keep. So I'm trying to find out to see if, and this is going to be shameless on my side, if Verizon store has it in store that I
Oh,
may
if you
be
can
able
just
to.
go and like kind of poke
I,
around with it,
yeah, I want to try it out and see if
do
it's
it.
worth
Just
worth.
ask.
You know what I mean? Like that was
Yeah.
my main thing. If it's worth it, and it definitely is enjoyable, because I haven't used the stylus on a moto for actually not like forever, never ever, never kind of a thing. So, but excited to see that this it was announced at the same time. It took them a little bit of time to come out, and it's going to come out in a couple of case options: a white one and a blue one, or navy blue or dark. I forgot the colors, but
Oh,
very nice, very nice. And then it also adds a new
and
functionality to the front-facing display.
the Edge Plus is back on sale again.
Oh, back to 899.
Yeah, it's
That's
back down to $899.
that's the price. I think that's the sweet spot.
Well,
It's
again, for a 512 gigabyte phone,
I know
that's real good.
everything 512 everything, man. We just need to do 512 everything.
So I'm chatting with a display manufacturer to do another follow up on Ready For because they're coming out with a 4K display,
Oh,
4K
nice.
portable display, and you're like, yeah, Yeah, that's real good. I mean,
Yep.
there's so many things that this Edge is doing so well.
Oh man. Yeah. No. No. Exactly. And
I was
I
hoping I
want to
could
see
just buy
more.
it directly from their site, but they're still saying it's not available yet.
So Verizon's the only one who has it. You have to go to Verizon's
Yeah,
site. They have it, and it's free shipping with like $7 tax and stuff like that. So it'll be like
yeah. I might,
82.
I might need to grab one. Mine, yeah. I mean, I know it'll work because I have the Verizon flavor of this phone.
I was gonna say,
But
yeah, it's but
I was
yeah,
hoping that it would be on like the Motorola site and like maybe it would be $5 cheaper because it's not being sold through Verizon. But no, it's not.
no. So out of curiosity, I know you just dropped obviously the Anker PowerHouse this night. Is there any more videos coming out from you this week, or is it just going to be kind of focusing on next week's stuff?
I gotta take a little bit of a break. I'm gonna be doing some writing for Slick Deals. We've
Nice.
got some videos coming out in Slick Deals. Actually, we're gonna be covering some earbud stuff, which I'm really excited. I really want to do a good job on that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm gonna have another video coming out on reviews.org. I've got sort of a production diary behind the scenes that I'm writing up to publish on the Patreon. And then like I said, I still have some embargoes that are going to be going up next week
Okay.
that I can't really talk about just yet. And so there's going to be some stuff or next week that I think will also be very interesting to check out.
That'll
So
be nice.
I don't have anything going up tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm just going to take a nap.
You okay? So I'm getting into that. Unfortunately, tomorrow is not my day off, but it's not my Friday off, so I still have to do work and stuff like that. So, but for me, yeah, I've seriously burned because so just for reference, I know for most everybody in the chat, you probably saw only the videos I posted on the English side, but because of these are flagship devices and they're international devices, I also had the Arabic side version of this, so that burns me out when I
Hmm.
have to produce that many videos in 1 week. Typically, I keep one main flagship a week. I typically don't have that much, hitting at the same time. So yeah, I'm pretty much tapped out for probably Saturday. We'll have the obviously the Android Bay, and that for me I'll do a little bit of build up for next week, getting things ready, and I want to start. I want to get back into somewhat of a normal. I haven't been able to have a normal week of production for many, many weeks. And it's killing me because don't get me wrong, I appreciate time, embargoes and so on, but that middle of the night embargo things every time I scathe
Tough.
by a couple of hours of sleep that night, and it takes me days to kind of recoup.
So yeah, the
So
Xperia 4 embargo was midnight our time, and I usually don't. I usually just like I'm gonna be late. I'll publish when I wake up, but I actually did set it up to publish at 1 in the morning. Lex woke up and she'd had a bad dream and she'd fallen out of bed because she's 6. And yeah, I help her get Marie helps her get back into bed. I'm telling her it's okay, everything's all right. And you're like, all right, well, let me just go make sure everything published. And I didn't even end up getting back to sleep until like 4 in the morning.
yeah,
So
well,
it's been enough of like what you're saying. It's been enough of these like international embargoes that just like get right in the way of your sleep schedule. And you're like, oh, I'm just dragging ass. Like for 2 days. It takes me 2 days to recover from getting my sleep
no,
interrupted once.
and it's weird. We're team 40. No,
Hey, we're old.
hey,
Ah.
that's where we are. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of. Well, for most everybody watching us, if you're in the U.S., obviously have a good evening. For everybody else around the world, hope you guys have a great Friday because we'll be there with you guys hopefully in another 8 hours or so. Um, and there's going to be obviously a lot more conversations, a lot more questions, and so on. I want to put a couple of videos. I realize that my videos are very long, and you have to purposely be a fan of the product to enjoy my content on this. I want to put a little bit of a kind of like a highlight video for the Xperia 1 Mark IV, kind of literally just going straight to the point with everything and leveraging the video that I made with the 30-minute video because I don't have to speak as much. Like, hey, you want more detail? Jump over there. I put chapters in there. You could do your thing. So I may work on something like that for early next week. And a lot of, like you
Mhm.
said, I want to stock up on content with the Xperia 1 Mark IV because, yeah, come Monday, it goes back in the mail for me. So
Same.
uh, hopefully we'll get a chance to play with Audio Pro when retail units or that software is available
Yeah.
for us to test out. I would love to see how that works, especially on the go, like when we're traveling and stuff like that. I want to be able to see how that audio experience is. So exciting stuff. A lot more things to go.
Yeah.
We're not even done with Q2, and it's crazy the way things are. So Be safe, stay safe. I'll see you guys on Saturday with the Android Bay, Monday with our buddy Juan Carlos Bagnell, and then we'll close it up again one more time next Thursday with the best of our week. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Bang.